Hello and welcome to Find Your Freedom, a podcast dedicated to helping you truly find freedom in all aspects of life. Join your hosts and their expert guests as they share practical tips and strategies for finding more freedom in your life. It's time to take control of your life and create the future you want. Let's find your freedom. Here are your hosts, Lenny the Boss and Omid Rad Investor.
Boom, 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 boom. Check this out, man. We are back at Find Your Freedom, and we are super excited right now because we have an awesome friend to the show that we cannot wait to sit here and bring him on. But before that, we always got to help you out because Omid, myself, we found our freedom, and we want to make sure that you find yours. So we got something easily downloadable for you. You can go to findyourfreedom.com/freedom kit, a nice kit for you. Findyourfreedom.com, findyourfreedom.com/freedom kit. Download it and go from there. So with that being said, our next guest, he's super awesome, right? He's a co-founder of SER Nation. Look it up. They are growing rapidly. One of the things he goes by and says, he helps, teams connect with hosts around the country and build a path of success for all Airbnb hosts. All right, we got some bombs that we're going to drop. We got some information that's never been disclosed anywhere else, and is going to be disclosed here first. So with that being said, Patryk, how you doing, my brother?
I love that. This is amazing. Oh wow, that was better than I could have said it. So thank you so much, Lenny and Omid for having me on. I appreciate it, guys.
Fantastic. So for the listeners, before we jump into some really cool stuff that you got going on and people understanding who you are, can you just give the listeners just a little background on yourself?
Yeah, just a little quick background. I used to be in tech, so I used to be in the startup world. I've started companies since I was 14 years old. It was a tech company at 14 years old. I provided server space to gamers worldwide. And I had this huge passion for building businesses and building people up, really. From there, I just kind of did a bunch of different startups. I raised venture capital. I went down that route. And now I just fell upon short-term rentals. I was working as a product manager for Avance, which is a big short-term rental company. And I fell on short-term rentals. And I realized in 2019 that short-term rentals were the way to go. And it was right. Like it blew up since then. And, I've had analysis paralysis. I made the mistakes all newbies make. So, I'm excited to just share that story and hopefully inspire some other people to take action and not just wait around like I did.
Yeah. So maybe can you share with the listeners, how old are you? Because, I'm like, you barely can grow facial hair. Like you look like you're like, so, yeah, it's, you have this great story,
Yeah.
but I think what's even more amazing is how you've been able to do it in such a quick time at such a young age. So many people go to college and then they do the traditional route and they don't jump into real estate till much later.
Yeah, no, definitely. So my background and just the way that I got started, I mean, I started around like 24, so I'm 26 now. And I don't see age as a factor of the worth for a person, right? Like a car, you don't judge a car based on like what year it is. You judge it based on how many miles it's driven, right? So I've driven a lot of miles. I've been around. I've done a lot of work. It didn't come overnight, and it's not like 24. I came about and all of a sudden I'm blowing up. This is something that I've been harnessing for 10 plus years. So this is mindset. This is entrepreneurship. This is learning the things to do. From a young age, I just I was working on this for my life. And so the opportunity came by when I found my passion, and it just didn't happen to be when I was younger. Like I wish I found short-term rentals when I was, 16, but sometimes things just fall in your lap at specific times in your life and you just run with it. Right. So that's kind of how I like to look at it.
That's awesome. So Pat, like you kind of brushed on it just a little bit. You talked about mindset, right? And we all know that's where it's at. So I guess for the listeners, can you just let us know, like, what are some of the things you did to make sure that your mindset was set right for you to sit there and succeed?
Yeah, for sure. So let's go back to when I before I even had one deal, right? So what happened was I worked for Avante. I was a product manager. I saw the crazy amount of wealth that was happening through short-term rentals for the company itself, right? Like I remember a statistic where for Coachella, Palm Springs area, you know, they have the Coachella 3 weeks, 2 weeks of Coachella, and then 1 week of Stagecoach. Those 3 weeks in Palm Springs paid off for the full lease for the whole year, the revenue. And everything else was just money. It's just like profit. And when I heard that, I was like, wow, there's so much money to be made here. And it's such a profitable industry. I should have just jumped in right there, but I didn't. And it's like, why didn't I? Right? And so now let's go back to like limiting beliefs, right? Like everybody has basically has beliefs that they believe and tell themselves every day. And it confirms it all the time. And that's facts in your head, right? Even though it's not fact, you state it as fact, right? So how do you get over those facts? Those limiting beliefs are not even like correct facts. Like for instance, for me, it was, hey, I had a mentor growing up that was in real estate, and he told me, if you want to invest out of state, you'd be an idiot to do that.
Wow.
Invest out of state. Like nobody makes money investing out of state. He was a big real estate developer in Chicago, and I just believed his word. I said, you know what? This guy told me that it's impossible. Like, I'm not even going to explore it. And I moved to LA, and I was like, I can't afford houses in LA. So I'm screwed. I just got to wait and just hopefully one day something comes about, right? So it's one of those things where the time that I started breaking down those barriers was the pivotal moment when I started contesting those facts, right? I wrote down on a piece of paper all the different things that I believed in, right? I can't invest out of state. I just made excuses for myself. What am I telling myself? I'm too young. I don't have enough money. I don't know the right things to do to get it done, right? Whatever. Then all of a sudden I started breaking it down. I'm like, all right, well, let's do some research. What kind of stuff here is actually true, right? Started plugging into communities, started getting into YouTube University, started doing all that stuff, man. And I realized, you know what? Like, this is, I don't know if you can swear on here, but this is a bunch of bullshit, man. Like, this is bullshit. Like, you can, I saw, actually, Tony Robinson was one of the people too. Alex was the biggest reason. Alex Sabio, for the people who are listening, he invests out of state in Pigeon Forge. And then I learned 90% of people were remote investors in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, Smoky Mountains. I was like, what? If they can do it, why can't I, right? And so now that barrier is gone, right? My age, I see 19-year-olds doing it. All right, that barrier is gone. Not enough money. Oh, well, I see people putting deals together with zero money down. Okay, well, that is out of the question, right? So it's like, it's about like taking everything that you have mentally and breaking it down. Because I'm telling you right now, there's no way in hell that I would have taken any action if it didn't have for me having my mindset in the correct place. Like, I'm sure, and even back then, there were times where I knew the company, Avante, had this hotel that they backed out on. And I looked at the numbers and I was like, well, this could potentially still work. But at the time, my mindset wasn't right. So I wouldn't be able to take on that deal. There's no way. But like, if it was today and the opportunity came across my desk, I would have reached out to that owner right away and said, hey, I think we can make this work. It was a San Diego hotel. So things like that, it's one of those things, it's opportunity meets prepared, right? You have to be prepared when the opportunity comes.
I love that. I mean, I think mindset is such an important piece, and there's so many people that have limiting beliefs, whether it's qualifying for a loan, whether it's how do I buy this property, and instead of saying like, or I guess instead of asking how can I, it's oh, I can't because of this. So even like touching on like STR Nation, I remember Alex Sabio, his name came up. He reached out to me and he's like, hey, you want to go to this meetup in Newport Beach? And then he's like, oh yeah, there's this young kid like Patryk. Have you heard of him? I was like, I don't know who he is. I'm not sure. You know, He's like, yeah, it's I think you should come. And at the time I was unavailable because I was coaching. He's like, yeah, I think this is going to be something special. And fast forward, I don't know, it's like a year and a half or 2 years, and STR Nation is really has like a huge like following, and it's pretty awesome like what you've been able to grow. But I would think like some people would like even just starting one, starting a group in itself, like from nothing. It's a lot of people would be like, oh, that's too much work, or I don't know if anybody would be interested.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's like a great point. So maybe like walk us through kind of like what like your journey a little bit as far as you've done a short-term rental in the Smokies, and what did you learn, and then like where that what led you to like what you're doing right now.
Yeah, so I got my first rental in the Smoky Mountains, right? So Alex, I had at the time, Omid, I didn't know of you, but now I know that you were part of the reason too, because you were partnered with Sarah and Tony on that deal that also inspired me. Okay, well, they're doing it, so why can't I, kind of deal, right? Went to Smokies, got my first rental. I wanted to get my first rental. Let me just walk you through this, because this stuff never shared before, guys.
Here we go.
Only on Find Your Freedom. Exclusive. Because I usually gloss it over.
Exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is exclusive. Find Your Freedom. Well, it is, because look, I mean, I gloss over this, but I think everyone wants to know, how do you get your first deal? And for me, at the time, it was I couldn't qualify for a loan. 10% down, great. It's low interest rates. I should be able to afford something, right? But at the time, I was kind of, I didn't really, out of college, I was working on my startup. I didn't make money there. I didn't have anything to prove for. And I was working a job for like 6 months. It was during COVID, right? So during COVID, I was three times where I got either fired or laid off.
Wow.
Jobs. So imagine that. Like, imagine thinking, you know what? Maybe I'm just not good enough to even be an employee or even be out there. Like,
Right.
It was horrible. And I landed a job making $40,000 a year. That's all. And it was great. I loved the job. I learned a lot, and I really optimized for the learning piece. And, it was a marketing job at the time. And I just couldn't qualify for that loan. I was working there for 6 months, and I had to go through extraneous steps. Like, first, it was like you could only afford $250,000. I looked in Joshua Tree. I mean, you could afford something maybe, but it was a piece of shit, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
And so really, you couldn't really do anything. And so I was stuck. I was like, you know what? That could have been me giving up. I just said, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm not doing this anymore. But guess what? I committed already. I had this lender that was bugging me because they wanted my business and they cut me on. They were on my ass, and thank God they were, because it made me want to continue going. I didn't want to, break that relationship and just like ghost them. Right. So it kind of forced me to start doing stuff. And, eventually I decided, okay, what can I do to make this work? What I did was, and this is, please don't report me, guys. But I literally was like, you know what? I can't do this any other way. So entrepreneur Patryk was like, let's just pretend like I'm living in-house and pretty much living rent-free. So I went up to my girlfriend. I said, hey, can I pay you under the table? And like, I just need to get approved for this loan. And she doesn't know anything about like this finance world. So she was like, hell no. I'm signing something. They're going to come after me. The FBI is going to show up in my house. All this shit. I'm like, honestly, I was like, please. We were dating for like maybe like a year at the time. Like if that, I was like, no, you got to understand. Like, you're my last hope. Like, other than that, like I have to like live with my parents or something. Like and they're in Chicago. So I'm like, I need this. Please. And she just decided to sign it. Thank God.
Wow.
And so shout out to her.
That's awesome.
And I got approved for $350,000.
Nice.
So there you go, $350,000.
Nice.
I was like, I can work with this. Found a place for $290,000. listed in the Smokies. Put a crazy offer in. My first offer I ever put in. And I did not expect to win it, but I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make a strong offer, appraisal gap, and escalation clause.
Yep.
I didn't even know what the fuck that meant. I was just like, let's just do it. This is what the market demands, so let's just do it. And I was like, at most, I'll pay like $310. And then I realized, crap, like I don't even have the cash to like do the appraisal gap. So apparently, like if the appraisal came in lower than the 306 that I got locked in at, then I would have had to pay out of pocket. It came in at 308.
Whoa. I
was so happy. But at the same time, I was like, wow, this is really working out for me. And now it's probably worth like 400,000, maybe more. I'm not sure. But they were making, I think they were making like 23,000 a year, or wait, 30. I think it was like 33 or something. I doubled that. I made 60. Awesome. Gross. I was like, that's how you do it, baby. Yeah. So I was like, what's up? So I was like, I love this thing. This is great. Get this. Now everyone thinks, okay, well, by the way, I didn't even know what anything meant. I didn't even know I agreed to an EMD. I was like, what is an EMD? Why am I paying them like $3,000? And they're like, you're never going to see this money. Yeah. If like you pull out. Yeah. I was like, what? I agreed to this? And I just signed the contract because the first offer got accepted. Yep. That's the thing. It's like I never went through a real estate deal. And it was funny. But it worked out. And yeah, so I have the property. So funny. That was a funny story that I shared here. I don't roll in the show.
That's awesome. Now, a couple of things there. You know, one of the things I really want to point out, which I'm highly grateful to hear, is that you ran into a number of challenges. Okay. And one of the challenges, which was the most important one, was how you was going to leverage this property. Now, with all these challenges, you could have said, you know what? I'm done with this real estate stuff. My mentor told me I can't invest out of town. You know, now the bank is telling me I don't make enough money to qualify. But you still didn't let that stop you. You know, you still went ahead and made it happen. You found a way. And that's the one thing I want to make sure the listeners understand.
You know what I did, Lenny?
Shoot.
I didn't find a way. I found my freedom.
Boom.
Boom.
Say it again, my man, Patrick. What did you
there? Do? Hey, listen, this is not the podcast freedom handed to you on a silver platter. No, it's called find your freedom. That's what's up. That's why you got to go and find that shit.
Go get it.
Are you listening? You got to go get it. You got to go find it. He found his freedom. That deal opened his mind up and educated him. You know, he sat there and took action. Didn't even know what half of the terminology meant. Acronyms. You know, didn't even know he signed a deal that he could potentially lose all his money. You know, but
you know what's funny, Lenny?
Shoot.
Sorry to cut you off.
Come on.
So I didn't. It's funny because I literally documented my whole process in my journal. I wrote journals about, and these are like personal journals that I don't read out to anybody. But in one of the journals, I said, "What the fuck is the EMD? Why did I agree to this shit?" Like, it's funny because when I do the journaling, I promise myself that I don't edit it. I just say what comes to my mind, and I swear I do whatever. It's informal, like it doesn't have to be well written. And I literally said, "What the fuck is an EMD?" And I said, "Why did I agree to this shit?" Like literally said that. And it was funny. My realtor didn't even go through any of the document. So, but yeah, anyways, sorry, Lenny, to call you out.
You're good.
Funny.
You're good. Hey, man, journaling. So, you know, okay. So you got this property in Pigeon Forge, right? And you say, hey, I got this property. And then, you know, you said, you know, you're going to sit here and put some work in, and you doubled the revenue, right? So that's fantastic. So now you got your first property, doubled the revenue. What was next for you?
Yeah. So right away, I was like, I need to find community. There's nothing around me. There's no networking events. I didn't know how to do half this shit. I had to ask Alex for every question. He was like probably annoyed. Like, what is this freaking kid asking me all these damn questions all the damn time? At the time, I thought like, oh wow, this guy's probably annoyed as fuck. Like, God. And so I had 3 different people that I would reach out to, and I would cycle the questions to each person. It's like a different person. Like sometimes they would get like annoyed, so I'd be like, all right, get to the next one, just to kind of level out the bandwidth.
Yeah, right.
But I had so many questions, and none of them could get answered all the time, right? Like, I tried searching the short-term shop group, right, which was great. Shout out to the short-term shop with Avery, Carl. Like that was where my first realtor. So, and didn't work out. So I basically found a couple people from that group, and I decided, hey, like, do you guys want to like meet up? And there you go. STR Nation was born. And guess who I met at the first meetup? Stephanie.
No way.
Okay.
Figuera.
Okay.
So she's gonna be on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Stephanie.
She's scheduled I think next month or something.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So So you'll hear her story, but
Stephanie,
I saw
talking
her.
about some awesomeness about you, just to let you know.
Yeah, talk major shit. Well, you know what? Let me tell you about Stephanie. She was that, I don't want to say shy, but she just doesn't talk. She didn't talk as much, but she was like kind of like, you know, the shy person, and the growth and development that she's made over the couple of years has been amazing. You'll hear her story, but met her and decided, hey, we have 15, I think it was like 10 people there at the time. And we said, hey, do you want to keep doing this? And now we do like 100 people, which is like insane.
That's awesome.
And we have a group that's like 2,500 people in the group and all that. But it started with these little meetups that we were doing. And if you can't find your, you know, it says find your freedom. I found my community, right? So that's part of the freedom principle, the formula, right? So that was part of my formula. And I found that community, and it helped so much, helped break down more barriers. It helped, everything I learned there, I still teach those concepts to my students, right? Like the half-day refund, right? Like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. But after that, 4 months. So also philosophy. I think that at the end of the day, everyone should have 33% of the people you hang out with, you mentor.
Yep.
33% of the people they hang out with, you are peers with.
Yep.
Same level. And then 33% of the people you hang out with are higher level than you, your mentors, right? So those are the people that are 10x higher than you are. So if you're making 100,000, you want to be around people making 1 million. You know, if you're at 1 million, you want to be around people making 10 million. Whatever the case is, right? That's like more or less how you should look at it, right? So right away, I had 1 rental under my belt. But that did not stop me, because I said, you know what? I'm going to teach people. It's like, why would you teach people? Like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not an expert, but I'm further than somebody else in the race, right? In the race to finding my freedom.
Yep.
So why not give back, right? And help the people that, you know, like, for instance, experts really, you can't relate to an expert sometimes. Like, there's a difference between being with somebody that's like a couple steps ahead of you, like Alex was at the time, Alex Sabio. I love him helping me because he had like 2-3 rentals, and I knew I wanted to get to 2-3 rentals. So he was ahead of me, and I learned from him. But then I taught people that had 0 rentals, and then that just grew, right? And it's more relatable when you're just like, I was there like 2 months ago. Now that's a big difference than, oh, I was there a couple of years ago when it was super easy or a different time, and like you can make so many excuses about that. No, I did this 2 months ago. You can do this now. There's nothing stopping you, right? It's really relatable. So people like that. So always give back, you know?
So I had a question on that. So I like the concept of the 33. So how do you determine like who is the next person that is like the next level, like the 10X? And how do you, I guess, facilitate that interaction with that person and or the relationship so that you can then continue to build your skill set?
Yeah.
And where does that lead to, I guess?
Yeah. So there's a couple ways to gain access, right? One way is going to be providing something of value, or being, you know, sometimes it doesn't even have to be like value, but it could be something as simple as like Alex told me, hey, I want 2 things from you. And I tell this story quite a bit, but he wanted 2 things from me. He said, 1, I want you to give back. which I did like 10, I did like 100x what he told me. He said, give back to like one person at least. And the second thing was tell me your progress after you're done, right? That's, to him, the value that I provided was satisfaction that I'm not a tire kicker. I'm somebody that actually can take action, and somebody that he's going to feel like if I spend this time, it's going to make me feel better, that somebody is actually taking action and doing things with his life. And so that was our relationship, right? So that was a mentor to me. And, you know, to find these people, sometimes you just have to pay for access. And what I mean by that is like, it doesn't have to be a lot. I mean, what small things like this, right? Like sometimes you pay for masterminds, right? If you want one-on-one attention.
Yep.
But sometimes you could just like pay for a master or a retreat or a conference, you know, where it's like, I think conferences, by the way, have the highest ROI from a networking standpoint out of anything you can do. The access you get is insane. Like at my conference, STR Nation conference, we had it in Vegas in September. Literally, the $1,000 you can pay to be VIP and get direct access to people that are doing 100x the amount of deals you are. Sean Rotzkevich, I keep messing up his name. Airbnb Automated. People had hour-long conversations with him. You know how much he costs for an hour-long conversation?
True.
I think it's like $1,000 an hour, like something insane.
Wow.
You can have it there. Like it already pays itself off. It's kind of insane. And people just don't realize that, you know, these conferences, and not only that, not only speakers, but the people you meet at the conferences, they have to pay to get in. So like they're going to be taking action. Like these are not people that are just, fucking around. Like these people are people that are in the same level as you. They're serious about it, and they're willing to put money on the line, and they're willing to put the time to get there. Now, meetups, if you don't have money, meetups are great. There's so many free meetups. We do free meetups. I'm sure a lot of other people do free meetups. Those are great places where you can meet other people that are killing it, right? So it's one of those things. There's no excuse. I think it's just access, right? Like sometimes you pay for it. Sometimes you add value to some degree, but it's about finding the people that are doing it and just reaching out.
So maybe like walk us through even you've gotten access. So like for a listener, they get access. They go to a conference. They meet the person that they're trying to learn. At that point, what are you trying to, I guess, obtain from like that interaction? Or like how do you proceed? Like what sort of action should you be taking, or what are maybe an example of something you've done that somebody else can replicate?
Yeah. So I was in the venture capital world, and in the venture capital world, there's this phrase that says, ask for money and get advice, ask for advice and get money. Now, what I mean with this situation here would be, I think a lot of times just asking for the advice and then getting the mentorship, right? Like there are people out there, myself included, where yes, people pay me for access for sure. But if I see somebody really taking action and doing great things, like I help them out for free. I don't take money. It's not about the money all the time. It's about it's about me not feeling like I have to waste my time with somebody, right? Like for somebody like that, like they don't want a tire kicker. Those are the worst things. In the beginning, I was giving free advice to everybody. I hopped on a bunch of calls. I think I had consulting calls for free, like 30 minutes an hour. I did this whole thing. I think I had like 30 calls.
Wow.
It was really draining. And out of all those 30 calls, maybe like 2 took action. How, like, time is not guaranteed and time is limited. So the fact that I'm giving away time like that is just not respectful of myself, right? I think I realized that, yes, I can help people at scale through like videos, but if I want to give one-on-one attention to somebody, I just have people pay me. But honestly, if somebody takes action and somebody really does the thing they need to do, I'll do it for free. And I know that other people might be the same or might be different, but I've seen it. I've seen where people just really want to give back and help other people out. And it's not about the money. And people think, oh, well, you're just trying to make money. It's not that's not the reason. The reason that you do that is to limit the people that are really not going to treat it seriously.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Because when you think about it, right, like I think all of us want to sit here and see other people succeed. Why? Because someone wanted to see us succeed and they poured into us, right? But with a lot of people, paying makes it real for them. And when someone sit here and gets something free, sometimes they just take that information or that value that was given and they do nothing with it. But when you pay for it, then you like, oh man, I came out of my pocket. I done worked hard at my job to sit here and make this money. And I'm spending it. So now I have to do something with this information. But hey, let's get into something else, right? Like before we jumped on this call, we were talking about, scaling up a little bit. And it was something, cool that you said you was looking into. So you want to share just a little bit what you're doing or what you did or what's going to go down, right? Another exclusive moment here at Find Your Freedom.
At the time of this recording, it is February 27th, 2023. I have not publicly announced this, but I will March 1st. So y'all are hearing it first.
Let's stop right here. Once again, we have an exclusive Find Your Freedom moment.
All right, guys. You guys ready? You guys, let's do a little cheers to the people that are actually listening.
Cheers.
This is supposed to be like beers at a bar, but we're all drinking water and tea. But cheers, guys.
Cheers. So for our listeners, we all got our cups up in the air.
And this is not sponsored by, what does that water bottle say, Lenny?
Oh, Holy Spring. It can be, though. It definitely
can be. At every episode, we drink it and we do a little cheers with them. If they want that clout, they're gonna have to pay for it. They're gonna have to find their freedom.
There you go.
So crazy things. So it wasn't public, but it's kind of insane. I was reflecting. January of 2022, 4 months after I bought my first property, I quit my job. Right? I had one operational Airbnb. I was making around $2,000 a month. And I thought to myself, what else do I need? I really can live off of $2.5K in LA because I cut my expenses. I really didn't need much. And I still live off of $2.5K this day. So did that. And January of this year, 2023, I locked in a contract, signing a deal. Not only have I acquired 5 properties additionally on top of the one of them being a huge project in Joshua Tree. That's going to be top 5 Airbnb in Joshua Tree. I'm putting it out there. It's going to be insane. It's an insane project. 2 minutes from the national park. Now, I bought a property management company. So I went from one listing at January 2022 to 23 or 24 listings January 2023. 1 year, 23 listings, 22, 23. I have to do the exact stuff, but it's insane. And we haven't even launched yet, and I'm getting clients on board. So it's quite crazy to me, and it's insane. Last year, people say, how do you scale so fast? How do you do this? I was prepared mentally. I focus on mental before I found my freedom. I think that's important. I know this podcast is about finding freedom. And look, people are listening right now. This advice right here and the shit that you guys are doing, honestly, people should pay thousands of dollars for this shit. Like, I'm telling you. But it's free. You know why? Because we're here sitting and spending time because we give a crap and we want to help people to get to the same level of success that we have, right? So I think if you're on this podcast, you're in the right shoes. And if this is your sign, then let it be your sign. Just find your freedom, man. Find your freedom, woman, whatever, man, whoever's listening, child. It's one of those things where it's like, get your mindset right. Listen to these podcasts, but take action. and really change your life because, going from unemployed and being fired 3 times and not being able to find a job and thinking that, what am I doing? I was a fish trying to climb a tree, and I got released into the pond. I got released into the ocean, baby.
Hey,
I'm
that's
feeling
good.
great.
Hey, let's jump into that. You purchased a management company. First and foremost, congratulations on that, right?
Thank you.
Congratulations, right? The second thing, I guess, what does that look like? I mean, do you have partners? Did you have to go out and raise capital? Like, did you do seller finance with this company? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. So here's a crazy thing. I found this company because I was networking. And shout out to Amanda and DJ. They're the ones that brought it to me.
Cool.
And, I put it out there. I told people what I was looking for. And somebody gave me the opportunity. And I'm super thankful for that. But that's through networking. That's through a whole year of just putting these events on and meeting people and doing that, right? Also, on top of that, all the deals that I've gotten to this day have been using other people's money. Except for the first one. The first one was my own money. Everything else was using other people's money. So all the BRRRR deals I did, BRRRR being buy, rehab, rent, repeat, whatever. And then doing now this property management company, seller financed, as well as using my business partner's capital. So yes, we're going to have to pay back that capital, but that capital is going to be paid back within that first year easy, and then some. That's not even putting on new clients. So the company as a whole, I thought to myself, time is the most valuable asset, right? And yes, I can build out all the systems. I can build out all the scale, all that. All the systems are built out. All the people are built out. I have 30 cleaners or 20 cleaners in-house, right? I have, I hired VAs to do guest communication. I have handyman. I have all these connections there, like coming with the company, all the systems, all the Slack channels, all the owners, all the contracts, all this stuff is already here. I'm fine tuning it the last month and a half, and we're launching in 2 days, just full on us. And wow. Guess what? We're going to be doing really well, and we're optimizing this company. I mean, look, the previous owners, amazing, good friends of ours now because we love them. Mm-hmm. And they basically said, you know what, like they acquired a company as well. They acquired another company that was doing Airbnb property management. So this is definitely a way that you can acquire companies like this. Use seller financing, find the money. You don't need the money, right? Like those are limiting beliefs. You don't need the money. I've gotten so far a year. I've never even smelled like 6 figures. I've never even touched 6 figures. I'm here living on 2.5K, maybe now I'm finally going to have 3K a month until things pop off. And I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, are you okay with that? Right? Do you want to find your freedom, or do you want to, be stuck in what you're doing? Right. So like there's sacrifices sometimes, but that's the way I like to look at it.
No, I love that. I think a lot of people scale by leveraging other resources, like other people's money. There's one project you recently had where you, I think you put in like 40K into like redoing it, the design. Walk us through that, because I think some people, they think they'll launch an Airbnb and it's going to kill it. And then you realize the market might be more competitive, or you got to compete or stay ahead of the market. So how did you come to that conclusion? And then, and share what it looks like today.
Yeah. So the second property we bought, I mean, we were like barely making money on it, if not losing money some months, right? Because Joshua Tree is a really competitive market. And, this property was just a house, and it was special in some ways, but really not in Joshua Tree. And I realized I really have to, that was my second property. That was the first one I did like a full rehab on. So I'm learning, right? And we learned that the stuff we did was just, we spent money in the wrong places. And that's okay. That's the lesson of life, right? That's the lesson of buying real estate. And we took that lesson and we made more money on the other properties that we did, right? But we learned what works. And we decided, you know what, let's do a revamp. And we put $40,000 in. We got a sauna. We got a whole new deck built. We got new furniture. We got a really good designer to come in and do custom furniture and custom murals and custom whatever. And we just made we made this pink disco house, like as crazy as you can make it. Like we made it. And it's been booking pretty well, I'll be honest. It's not as much as like we thought so far, but I think it's because this is a special house. It's going to require a little bit more like attention with Facebook ads, but we're making our money back already. Like that's already great. But we thought we were going to do like 4x of that, right? Like crazy. But at the same time, I'm not dismissing that. I think it will. It just takes some time with the algorithm and everything. It was on page like 12, you know, so things like that. But we've been getting good reviews, and I think it's going to really pay itself back, if not more so, right? So always invest, and you don't have to be perfect the first time. And I think that's the lesson there. It's kind of like imperfection. You can always perfect things later if you need to. Oh, Lenny, you're muted.
Your mic's not working. Yeah.
Oh man, look at that here. I'm sitting here talking. All the listeners, I'm sitting here sitting here talking up a storm. Mic was off, right? You know, but mic is on right now. Found my freedom with turning that mic on. So, but check this out. You know, Pat, you know, we can go on and on and on because we really want to hear more about some of your bird deals and that management company that you're going to get off the ground, and a little more about that STR Nation, man. You know, so you got to promise us that you're going to come back. Going to come back?
We will, but next time let's do beers, okay?
All right, my man.
Yeah, beers. We'll make it like a happy hour.
Yes.
We'll have a good time.
Happy hour.
Let me ask you a question. So what does find your freedom mean to you?
Yeah. So find your freedom to me means living the life. It doesn't mean luxury. It doesn't mean buying crazy jets and all that kind of stuff. To me, it's just being able to do whatever I want at any given point. So I optimize my life for happiness. I think a lot of people optimize their life for financials or optimize their life for looking cool or whatever the thing is. I optimize my life for happiness. So if I want to go out there and have that cheeseburger, even though it's expensive at a restaurant, I'm okay paying for that cheeseburger if it's going to make me happy, okay? I'm okay paying for that. I'm okay paying for the beers because of the experience that it gives me. I'm not going in there buying the most expensive bottle of whiskey or whatever. Maybe one day, but to me, find your freedom really means being able to do whatever you want at any given point. And if that means W-2 job, then let it be. If that means being with your kids, let it be.
Love it.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I think it's like do what you want when you want. You know, I think that's very powerful because everybody, how they define it is going to be so different. So for me, I get the luxury because I'm in Southern California. I can come to your events, but like let's say somebody's not local and they can't come to your events. How do they connect with you?
Yeah, the best way to reach me is my Instagram, and I post on there the most actively, and I try to look. I mean, right now I'm even posting reels every day, and I'm not big by any means, but hopefully one day I'll be big. Maybe by the time of this recording, who knows? I'm at like 4,000, so hopefully 10,000 by this recording. I don't know, but I'm just gonna post consistently. And if you guys want to be there for it, and you guys want to support me, I'd appreciate it. It's Patryk, Patryk, and then _ my last name, Swiettek. But as long as you get the first name, you'll be fine. There's not that many Patryks with a Y.
There you go. Patryk with the Y. You know, hey, so we do this big thing at the end, right? Like the whole objective here is we're going to sit there and do this boom in a uniform manner. Okay. You know, we're going to count to 3, 1, 2, 3, to do a boom. So the objective here is going to be to...
I thought you counted 3.
Oh, sorry. I got the objective. You said you could pump those lungs up, man. I know you was ready. That's what we love. I was ready.
Pull the trigger.
I'm ready.
Let's do it again.
Ready? On this one. We're going to sit there and rattle some speakers, and we're going to sit here and bust some air drums. All right. So y'all ready?
Ready?
Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Hey, listen, check this out. We just had a awesome episode with Pat, which is super awesome. Check out STR Nation. It's growing like crazy. All they doing is just educating people so they can sit there and find their freedom. So go out there, follow him, because believe me, he's giving some good information on his page. I wouldn't be saying it if I didn't mean it. All right. Now, with that being said, you already know here at Find Your Freedom, we have to take care of you. We have to make sure that you have the tools that you need to find your freedom. So Amin and I put together a freedom kit, and you can go to findyourfreedom.com/freedom kit. Once again, Find Your Freedom, REI.com, freedom kit. Now, listen to this episode, and we need an honest 5-star review. All right, because this is how we give more and more and get more guests on and more friends on to provide you more value. Make sure that you subscribe and share this with all your friends, your mom, your sister, your brother, your uncle, your niece, your nephew, all your coworkers, even the ones you like and you don't like. All right. That being said, until the next episode, talk to you soon. Peace. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Find Your Freedom. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. While you're at it, please help us spread the word by leaving a rating and review and sharing the podcast with friends, family, and colleagues. Until next time, get out there and find your freedom.